Hi, I'm Doug Wilder, and welcome to another exciting edition of Frontline.
Thank you, Governor Wilder, and welcome to another edition of Frontline. We're on the road this month again at Company 16 with Gary Widener, Captain Gary Widener, and the crew from 16 C Shift, a place commonly called the Zoo, which I've had the opportunity to work at before, thankfully for not for very long, but have been here before. And Gary, thanks for having us down to your place. If you would, take a moment and introduce us to the people that are on your shift. How about that?
Sure, okay, great. To my left is Jerry Chisano, Mike Hendricks, Scott Rogers. Behind him, Martin Gruby, Tina Reiner, and Bruce Pencil.
Looks like a mighty fine shift, it does.
Great shift.
They do pretty good on the road?
Great.
All right, that's good. Hey, just a little bit about the zoo here for a little while. I noticed we got various animals around here. You had any trouble keeping this one at home lately?
No, not lately. Since the last kidnapping, we've been doing pretty good. The collection has grown quite a bit since then, though.
All right, what do you got now?
Oh, we got an owl, a rabbit, a tiger, a deer, and 2 dogs.
3 dogs.
Three dogs, excuse me.
3 dogs. Well, at least your food bill isn't very high. That's one good thing about it. Okay, let's go ahead and give you the rundown of the program this month. We're going to start right away with Back to the Basics and Dwayne Crone. He spent some time doing some basic knots, fire service knots, and I think you'll find that the work Bob and him did on that was real interesting. We talked to Chief Carter this month. We wanted to start the year out and talk to him because there's a lot going on, and he gave us a brief overview of what how the department stands for the coming year, and it was kind of an addition to what Chief Kellum talks about in service. I'd like to thank Billy Dickerson for the fire footage that you're going to see this month. It came from a fire which was in Company 16's first due area over here off of Kim Terrace, and that's some real good fire footage. We went over to Company 10 and did an interview with Wayne Black, and he showed us around the new tech truck. And y'all will find out how much equipment that thing has on it and what the capabilities are of that particular apparatus now. This month on Have You Ever Wondered, RB is down in the Public Utilities Control Room, and there's no telling if you'll have water or not when he's finished down there. I guess we'll have to see how that turns out. And we want to spend a little time with Jerry Chisano, because I know, Jerry, you're developing the funeral policy for the city of Virginia Beach. And I want to spend a little bit of time, if you could, just to explain to us what that's going to entail.
Sure enough, to let you know, the policy, I am holding it in my hand, has been developed. It has been finalized with Chief Carter's blessings, with the exception of a couple of grammatical errors and resubmissions. We're expecting it to be out in the next SOP updates, which should be early this spring. More importantly, that the item does exist, that God forbid we did have a firefighter death, no matter what the occasion, that you can call any member of the Honor Guard or myself, and the policy can be put in place as we speak. We did use it in a large proportion with Larry McGuire's funeral.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So this will, in effect, help us to be more organized? Or...
It has taken all of the guesswork out of it. Our biggest problem and the need for the policy was the fact of everybody's good-hearted nature wanting to help 1,000%. And with everyone wanting to help, we lost the unity of command, and it was lost, and it was utter confusion. But now we have the policy. Of course, the family is the #1 person that we are working for, and under the direction of the fire chief, in basic terms, the Honor Guard will be handling most of the liaisons and things of that nature.
Who helped you with this?
Well, the original forethought was yourself, myself, and Martin Gruby came up with the idea that there was a need. And like anything else, our schedules got busy, and this is pretty much all my doing, taking different things from the Phoenix Fire Department, from Michigan Fire Department, from New York, LA, and also New Orleans. Right. And had a lot of people to put different input into it, and I actually just put it together with the help of my wife on the computer, and we submitted it, and I was lucky enough that Chief Carter not only saw the need, but he enjoyed the way we put it together. So it didn't have to go through as much red tape as I thought it would.
Right. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time, because I know everybody will benefit from us, and God forbid, you know, we ever have to use it, at least we'll look like we know what we're doing. So.
Exactly. The fact is, again, not trying to look good for anyone else. We are a big city fire department. Chief Diezel's name is known throughout the country. As you've heard in our previous segments of Frontline, the Honor Guard is representing the city of Virginia Beach annually up in Emmitsburg with our National Firefighters Memorial. We have the possibility of going out to Colorado for the IAFF Fallen Firefighters Memorial. There are two that exist in the country. And now we are getting ready in July to go through some competitiveness with the Honor Guard. And so with this exposition, we're hoping that we can look good in our own home front yard than we can all around the country.
Well, that's great. That's great. And like I said, we appreciate you taking time to work on it.
Early notification is the key. If anybody has any questions that they could add or they see once it comes out in the field that we can improve this, again, this is the first issue that's out. Everything is up for improvement, and I take everything with open arms.
Good. Okay. Hey, before we get on with the program, I want to take the opportunity to congratulate my good friend Stanley Foster. Him and his wife just recently had a baby boy, so Stanley, congratulations. And I guess that'll about do it from Company 16C. We'll get on with the program.
Welcome to this segment of Back to the Basics. In this edition, we're going to be talking about some of the fire service ropes and knots. These are the basic knots that we use every day on the fire scene, and not to be confused with the heavy and tactical rescue knots that we use for life safety. But before we tie any of the knots, we need to know a few of the definitions and some of the rope configurations that actually form the knot. The first and most simple of the rope configurations is the bite. And that is nothing more than forming a bite in the rope by having the two ends come parallel each other, the running and standing end. The next one is the loop, and the loop is just formed by bringing one end around to form a simple loop in the rope. And then in order to make a round turn, you just go ahead and drop the other end parallel again, and you get a full round turn. You can see it in the rope. Then two definitions that we must be familiar with in order to tie a knot is the standing end and the running end. The running end is the portion of the rope that we actually use to tie the knot. It's the end that is moving around itself in order to form any knot. The standing end is usually the part that we hoist with, we tie off. It's the excess of the rope that is not being used at the time when we're tying the knot. The knots that we'll be tying in this segment are the clove hitch, the becket or sheet bend, the half sheep shank, the chimney hitch, and the bowline. The first knot we're going to tie today is the bowline. The bowline is formed by making an overhand loop in the rope, which is placing the running end on top of the standing end. You then take the running end up through the loop, around the standing end, and then back down through the loop. Once you've tied the actual bowline, we're then going to take and place a half hitch safety on one leg of the knot. Some of the many uses for the bowline are you can use it for hoisting ladders or tying a loop around an object that will not tighten down on the object itself. The next we're going to show you an overhead view of tying this very same knot. For the overhead view of tying the bowline, we start by making an overhand loop. We then take the running end, come up from the bottom, pulling enough out to go around the standing end, and then back down through the loop that we have previously made. You then pull the running end down, tightening the knot up. Then to complete the bowline, we put an overhand safety in it. The knot we're going to tie at this time will be the clove hitch. I'll show it to you in two methods, the first of just tying it freestanding, and the second one tying it around an object. This knot, if you're tying it freestanding, can be tied anywhere in the rope. If you're going to tie it around an object, it's best if you're at one end of the rope or the other, so you don't have to deal with all the rope being bound up in your hand as you're tying it. Okay, all we do is we form 2 loops in our hand, and then we take one loop out and place it in front of the other. And then once you bind that down, you can see that this has formed the clove hitch. The second method of tying this is if you need to tie it around an object. You can go ahead and just lay the rope over, form an X, come back around and back up through, and you have the clove hitch. The clove hitch is a very versatile knot in the fire service. We use it for many things, probably the most prevalent being that we use it to tie off the halyard on the ladders. The knot is also used for hoisting of pike poles, fire hose, be it charged or uncharged, fire extinguishers. It also is excellent for tying around an object. And if you want to go ahead and rope something off and you just need to have a knot that you can tie around, say, a banister or anything of that nature. Next, we're going to go and show you how to tie this knot from the top view so you could see how you would possibly tie it if you were holding a rope at this time. We first make, for the freestanding clove hitch, we make it 1 loop. We then make a second loop. We take the front loop and place it behind the rear one. And this forms a clove hitch that can be slipped over an object. For tying the clove hitch around an object that you can't slip it on, you then place the rope over the object, you pull it around under, you go back across the object, forming an X. You then grab the running end, bring it back up through the hole that was made, pulling it taut. Now we're going to tie the half sheep shank. This is used for tightening rope between 2 objects for crowd control. We secure the rope at one end to the first object, then we come around and we loop the rope around whatever the second object is going to be. We then take the remainder of the running portion of the rope and toss it over the rope, forming an X. We come back behind the running end and we form a bite. Then we go towards the standing end. We form 1 half hitch, then the second half hitch, and then all you do is you pull on the running end until you tighten the rope between the 2 objects to the desired tension. Then it's just a matter of a few half hitches in order to secure this rope in place. Once this is tied, this will hold very nicely. The one thing that you do have to do is come back and check it periodically because the rope will tend to stretch on its own and loosen up, so you may have to retighten this. For the top view of tying the half sheep shank, after anchoring the standing end, we then come to the running end, make our attachment around the object that we're going to tie it to. We then drop the running end rope over the standing end rope, keeping the running end rope in between our attachment point. We make a bite coming from running end to anchor side. We then make a half hitch coming from standing end anchor side, a second half hitch from the standing end anchor side. Once we've attached the second half hitch, we then just pull back on the running end until we have sufficiently tightened the rope. Once we've tightened the rope, we then take a bite and make 2 half hitches with the bite to hold the rope in place. And this will keep the rope from slipping. The only consideration is that the rope will stretch due to time and possibly sunlight warming it up, and you may have to come back and retighten the system. Now we're going to tie the becket or the sheet bend. This configuration is used for joining 2 ropes of unequal diameter. The first, or the larger of the 2 ropes, you form a bite in it. The second rope comes up through the bite, around the bite, and then back down underneath of its standing end. This would be the smaller of the two ropes. You then pull it taut, and this rope configuration will not slip. It also works very well on wet or muddy ropes. Now I'll show you the top view of tying the becket or sheet bend. You start by forming a bight in the larger diameter rope. You then take the smaller diameter rope, come up from the bottom of the bight, go completely around the bight, and then back through the standing portion of the smaller diameter rope. You then pull it taut, and this will join two ropes of unequal sizes together. It also holds very well on a wet or muddy rope. Now we're going to tie the chimney hitch. In order to tie the chimney hitch, first you loop the running end around the object in which you want to tie it around. You then make an X with the ropes, bring the running end around to form a loop. Then you take it around to form a second loop that the first one can bind on. At this time, the knot will hold itself, but as in all fire service knots, we go ahead and throw a either half hitch or an overhand safety in it. In this case, I'm going to use a half hitch. And this will hold very nicely. This knot is used in conjunction with the half sheep shank in order to rope off an area. For the top view of tying the chimney hitch, we place the running end of the rope around the object. We then pull it back under. We form a loop around the standing end. We then form a second loop around the standing end. This would hold taut by pulling on the standing end, but as in all fire service knots, we finish up with either a half hitch or an overhand safety.
Welcome to Chief's Corner, an informal Chief's Corner, I might add, this month because we're doing some construction on the Frontline set, so I've got a feeling this whole program is going to be out in the field. And I have the pleasure to have with me again today to start the new year, Deputy Chief Carter. We brought him back because it is the new year. There's some things that we want to touch on that don't deal with the budgetary process. As most of you know, the in-service training is going on right now. Chief Kellum is presenting dollars and cents, so we won't bore you with the budgetary problems anymore. We'll talk about some other issues that pertain to the fire department in general and how the Chief sees the year going. And Chief, thanks for coming by.
Oh, sure. I'm glad to be here.
A few things that we have to touch on. Maybe we'll just go through them generically. Let's talk first about transfers. Everybody knows transfers are coming up. We're moving some people around. Without being too specific, unless you want to, how about transfers?
Well, yes, there is going to be some transfers. Tentative date right now is March the 1st. That coincides with bringing on the new hires that we're currently going through the interview process with to fill these 10 vacancies we have, which will provide some relief to the guys in the station. And with any time we bring on new people, everybody out there knows we have to move some other people around to accommodate, so we can try to blend these new guys in with our veterans. With that, I feel like that transfers sometimes are not always positive. But what I'm proposing this time is to move the operational district chiefs. A lot of guys say, why are you moving them from shift to shift? Well, I think movement brings growth. And I think if we move some people around, it gives the division chiefs and the battalion chiefs an opportunity to work together. It gives the guys in the station an opportunity to see a different perspective from a different supervisor, and basically a little bit of a different management theory. We're not doing this as punishment to anybody. Nobody's done anything wrong out there, you know, to do this. I just think if we're going to continue to grow without promotions at the higher levels, which is we're probably not going to have any for a while, then we need to be able to share that wealth of knowledge by these three district chiefs and move them. And so March 1st, I plan on doing that. There's also been some talk about the battalion chiefs. There may be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 battalion chiefs that move for various reasons, whether they request it or whether we feel like it'll be to the department or to their best interest.
Right.
And when that happens, all of these are going to coincide with the bringing on of the new guy. So March 1st, we're going to make some moves.
What about a transfer philosophy? In other words, if you listen to Chief Dizell a lot of times talk, he talks about a well-rounded person. You know, if he had it his way, you know, we'd transfer him every 5 years to make him see the whole fire department. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but as we attack the next year or the next couple of years, what is going to be the fire department's transfer philosophy?
Well, I think we coincide with the chief's forecast. He and I do see eye to eye on those philosophies, on the transfers. Maybe not necessarily the time frame, but because of that, when we redid the SOP some time back, we put in there a specific time frame that the chief wanted in. Mm-hmm. That does bring growth. It also allows those people to be more well-rounded, regardless of whether you're going from shift to shift or station to station or from operations to services. It does, at least in my opinion, and I think the chief supports this, it does allow growth for the employee. It also allows growth for the department. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what the philosophy is. You know, some people take transfers as punishment, and that's not the case at all.
Yeah. Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about EMS, and in particular the EMS delivery that we're doing in the field now, mm-hmm. As it pertains to paramedic wagons.
Whew, that's a tough subject. To put a squelch to rumors, if you will, there is no forecast for paramedic wagons. Mm-hmm. We made this proposal to EMS and through our budget for the last 3 years to try to provide ALS off the engines. That was not accepted very well by, for a lot of reasons. One, EMS didn't accept it. Two, it was in a priority where we couldn't afford monetarily through the budget crunch to implement the program. And three, it would require a lot of stuff that we just didn't have through the budget process to bring online. But what it did do was to make us rethink what we're currently doing. And I think because of that, we have implemented a fire EMS committee, which a lot of guys may or may not be aware of out there, that's headed up by Chief Pokorski on C shift, that meets with the EMS once a month to talk about issues. Because of some calls we've had, we are implementing some additional ALS equipment to go on the engines for the paramedics to use, whether they're on or off duty.
Will they be allowed to do that?
Oh, yes, they will be. They'll be trained. EMS is going to provide the equipment. It's going to go on the engines. It's airway management, mm-hmm. And that's going to be something new in the next 6 to 12 months that you'll see. As we speak, we currently have one in place on engine 16, I think, that's being monitored at that station to see how it's going to work. Mm-hmm. And we may have to change that a little bit. But the guys providing ALS is becoming more and more, irrespective of what the philosophies are. I think the demand out there is that we have to do it. And the chief's philosophy to the EMS director is the citizens deserve the service.
That's exactly right.
As long as you're providing it, we'll support you. If you can't provide it for whatever the reasons, we will. Yeah. And that's basically what his philosophy is, and I think we're trying to stay within that mode.
Well, that's good then. Okay, about the volunteer system. I see a lot more of the volunteer system down here than I did when I was in the field, and I generally have a high opinion because I get to train the people and I see how they are when they hit the field. Are they growing? Is the system growing? And how are we going to utilize these volunteers over the next couple of years?
Well, the volunteer system has really taken off. It took us several years, but about 2 years ago, we really revamped the entire volunteer system to where we have a volunteer fire service within Virginia Beach Fire Department, not this 10 or 12 or 17 or 18 fragmented individual corporations out there, even though they're still incorporated as a separate entity. They can do anything they basically want to as an organization administratively. When it comes operational, they have to go through the same training that our guys do, and they go through it here. Through the program that the training center has put forth, we do 2 recruit classes a year. When they graduate out of here, they're firefighter 2s, just like our guys are. They have the hazmat and EVOC and training and et cetera. They are ready to go to work. With that, we are utilizing them more. And we set some philosophies here about 6 months ago with the volunteer coordinator and the district chiefs and said, basically, here's what we want you to do. Put that salvage truck in service every night with a crew on it. And they're doing that. After that, we want you to be able to fill some vacant seats that we have because of leave or just the fact that they're vacant. On the career side of the house, they're doing that. Thirdly, we want you to be able to man an engine once these other two priorities are taken care of, if you have the available resources, and bring it up. 1992, we brought engine 38 up, as an example, 37 times with a volunteer crew for lots of different reasons. Thunderstorms, signal 15s, and even just regular duty crews. So it is expanding, it is getting better, and I believe that the career guys out there are beginning to accept it more because they're beginning to respect those guys because they know they're trained and certified and ready to go to work.
Well, I think you also have to relate it back to the service delivery thing. What are we here for? It doesn't matter if you're a volunteer EMS or if you're paid fire. I mean, we're there to serve the public. It just likewise if you're volunteer or paid.
Well, basically right now we have volunteers taking care of volunteers. We currently have a volunteer guy here at a training center that's working the volunteer program. We have two now, and they're both volunteer captains. One of them is administrative and the other one's training. We have a volunteer battalion officer out there that's coordinating the entire program. I have Chief McGinnis right now looking into utilizing volunteers as inspectors to assist his people to do some of the things that, because we feel like that role is going to expand as we go on, and if we can get the volunteers to participate in it, we don't have to get the guys on the engine companies to do it. So we're utilizing volunteer instructors. I think there's a wide gamut, and if they're out there and they're willing to work under the guidelines that we set forth, why shouldn't we use them?
Might as well put them to work.
Exactly.
Okay, a couple of maintenance issues, building and vehicle.
Yeah, one of the things that I think would be nice to clear up here, if you will, for the guys in the stations. I think there's a misconception out there that when building maintenance people come to station, whatever, to repair a light bulb or fix a stove or something, we get charged by the hour and for the parts and that kind of stuff. And that's not true. And I think we need to set the stage here so everybody understands. Unless you live in station 4, 6, or 7, it doesn't cost us out of fire department budgeted money to get the station worked on. Unless it's something that we added to the station, like a washing machine or a dishwasher or something like that. Other than that, there's really no cost associated with sending those guys out there other than what money is budgeted for building maintenance to go out there. Those other 3 stations, because they are volunteer owned, the fire department budgets for those repairs.
Right.
And we take care of those through utilizing either general services or we contract with the local vendors out here to go out and do repairs, such as Kellerman Eaton for electrical or whatever. And we pay the VEPCO bills and the oil bills and those types of things. Other than that, there is no cost, and I think that was a little bit misconception that I wanted to clear up. The other side of the house, on the garage side, for whatever the reasons are, and I think I know some of them, the city garage charge accounts we have reduced that by over $200,000 in the last 2 years. I think a lot of that is attributed to what the guys in the stations are trying to do. They take better care of their equipment. They're more conscientious of it. They work on it a lot more. We give them a little more latitude than what was there in the past, and therefore we don't have to send it to the garage quite as often. One of the things I think we could do to maybe improve on that a little bit is kind of follow our SOP in regards to those speed letters or repair orders that are written up. You know, unless it's an emergency, wait till that thing gets full before you send it in so Steve can schedule it. If it's an emergency, stop it right then. Let's take it out of service, get it down there, and we'll get it fixed and get it back.
That'll further save us money.
Oh, it certainly will. It certainly will.
Especially for the little stuff.
Exactly. Don't send it down there just because the light bulb's out. You know, we'll let you put the light bulb in yourself. Also, on that same note, I have asked for, and it's been basically granted, we just haven't set up a time for me to meet with the General Services Director to talk about ways that we can improve the way we work in regards to our building maintenance and our apparatus maintenance, which should save us some money in the long run too.
That's
so
good.
The guys need to look forward to that out there.
Yeah. Chief, everybody knows that you pretty much sit in the hot seat, so to speak, up there at Fire Admin, and you know, when the tough jobs come down, I guess you have to do them. On a personal note, to close out the interview, I had a couple of questions. How about what is it about your job that you absolutely hate the most that you have to do, and you can't say being down here on Frontline? Anything with that?
Buddy, I'll be honest with you, I enjoy my job. There are parts of it that I don't necessarily like, and that's maybe those are the personnel issues, because you see things that you have to do that you may not necessarily want to do, but you know you have to sometimes. If I had to pick out one particular thing that I don't necessarily like doing, it's dealing with the politicians. Yeah. And I think that's a positive side, and that's why we have the fire chief. He's very good at his job. He does a great job of dealing with the politicians and the other department heads, and pretty much gives me the opportunity to work with our guys and stay within the framework of the fire service, which makes it a very comfortable job for the most part.
Well, that's good. How about to close out the interview, if you could ask each individual firefighter in the field one thing that they could do in the coming year that would help the fire department achieve its goals, or the tough times that we have to go through, or the objectives that we are strive to attain, what would that one thing be?
I think if we put it in the goals aspect of it, one of the key things I think we need to push forward is to maintain our safety record. Mm-hmm. Be conscientious of what you're doing out there all the time. Don't take chances. Don't make gross mistakes. And if you see something that needs fixing, fix it. If you need something that needs picking up, pick it up. And let's move on with it and not worry about it, whether it was your job or somebody else's job, and just do what you need to do to make it easier for you to work out there, and it'll certainly make it easier for us. And it'll certainly, I think, make this fire department move forward as the time goes on.
Okay. Well, Chief, we appreciate you taking the time to come down here today. A lot of very pertinent information, and if there's anything that we didn't hit here that you'd like to know, shoot it up the chain. I'm sure, Chief Carter, you wouldn't mind getting an answer back to the guys in the field.
Not at all. Not at
Till
all.
then, see you on the next segment.
Hey, Mark, nobody's taking out any windows in the back, okay? No windows have been taken around the back. Hey, Chief, no windows around back have been taken out. That's where they went, I think. Watch the line. Watch that wire! Come on, watch it! Come on this side! Look at that! Line over there. Truck over there.
I want to welcome you to Company 10 there, where the new technical rescue unit is being housed at. There's some things I want to talk about today, the response of it and how the unit was designed and when it was placed in service. These are the individuals that were participating on the committee there that developed the plans for the new technical unit. And the unit went in service in December of '92. Some of the other things I'd like to show you is the new equipment that's on the unit, and let you see the specialized stuff that y'all can request in your jurisdiction or within the city. The vehicle that is a new tech unit is 1977 Seagrave, which used to be old hose tender 8, and it's been modified with a Hackney box on the rear of it. The trailer is the existing trailer, and there has been no structural changes to it. And here are some of the general categories that the technical rescue unit can respond on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new tech unit. Starting with the vehicle from the driver's side around the truck, compartment number 1 has our rope rescue gear, our helicopter operational equipment. Compartment number 2 is miscellaneous of stuff. We've got our communication system, we've got rescue gear, and our triage and command items. Compartment number 3 is our confined space compartment, and it has our confined space entry equipment, and some additional new stuff that we have in there is a portable breathing air compressor and our breather boxes. Compartment number 4 is our cascade system, our air bottles, and some of the backboards and stokes and tripod systems with the electrical reel. And compartment number 5 is our airbag compartment, and in conjunction with that we have some air chiseled pack hammer devices in there. High and low pressure airbags with a reel to go with it. Working from the passenger side of the vehicle, compartment number 6 starts out with our electrical items. You have drills and saws and lights and cord reels and fans, blowers. Compartment number 7 is all our gas items, saws, generators, pumps, exothermic cutting devices. Compartment number 8 is your stabilization items, so your cribbing, your come-alongs, your jack pads, small air shores. Compartment number 9 has another cord reel, has a 7.5 kW diesel generator, runs off of the truck tank. You have some spare AMCUS hose for the hydraulic setup, and up above is the compartments that go through for your stokes and those items that were on the other side. Your compartment number 10 has an AMCUS setup, hydraulic setup, and it has rams, O-cutters. We have a backup to everything. We have 2 O-cutters, 2 spreaders, a combination tool, and 8 rams. It's powered by a diesel diesel power unit, and it runs the reels themselves. And then we have a backup gasoline power unit. The trailer is set up for trench and structural collapse. Some of the items that you'll see on there is the actual trench panels and shores. We have a cutting torch set up on the truck for a little bit more in depth as far as cutting operations. On the trailer we do have a Hearst tool setup, which is our backup to our AMCUS setup that's on the truck.
Let's talk a little bit about the response of the new tech truck. If it's a technical rescue mission as described, all you have to do is assess and request. Of course, if it's dispatched on the initial assignment, you don't even have to worry about that. For vehicle extrication, what you need to do is make an assessment of the situation, determine the availability of a squad truck. Is one manned? If it's manned, what's its time and distance requirements? If you feel that customer service could better be met or the distance required is too great, go ahead and request a ladder company, with the exception of Company 9's and Company 10's area where you can request a tech truck with its hydraulic systems, and then just advise the EMS supervisor or the senior EMS provider on the scene that you've made that request. From a regional perspective, the truck can be requested for anything. Whatever another city wants, all they have to do is call our Emergency Operations Center and request it, and we'll send it out to you. For demonstrations, if you're interested in getting this out as a static demonstration, please contact either Company 10 or myself at the Special Operations Office, and we'll coordinate that through the operational battalions to make sure that it's available. You have to understand that based on our departmental programs that are ongoing, it may not be available every time you want it. Thank you.
Did you ever wonder what it'd be like to be in control of all the water in the city? I always wondered that myself. I'm down here at the Water Pump Control Center down at Lansdowne Road with Richard Carnes, Superintendent of Water Pump Stations, and we're going to talk about what their operation entails down here. Richard, appreciate you taking a little time with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what goes on in the center here?
Okay, this is our control center in which they do monitor all the water pump stations and all the sewer. Of course, what we're mostly interested in now is, of course, the water pump station. And this girl here, she is monitoring the screen for all the water pump stations, and this is the same screen over here if you'd like to take a look at this one. This is what they're looking at most of the day. Normally what happens for us is that anytime there's a working fire within the city, EOC will page us out. Then our operators on duty will take and go to their map book to find out which water pump station will have the most effect on. Right. And then they take and they monitor that station. If the pressure starts dropping, we're going to get an alarm, and that's when they would notify me. And then we make a decision as to what to do, what pumps to start, or maybe even what pumps to shut off. Right. But it's monitored 24 hours a day. We have 5 operators who take turns 24 hours a day in this control center. And the main thing we're watching for in here is the water and the sewer.
That's good. So the ladies work down here, they work, what, 8-hour shift?
That's correct, 8-hour shifts.
Just a rotating 8-hour shift, that's great. And they can monitor, like you said, all the pump stations in the city and determine, they can also determine if there's a big major leak. So we have a water line, major line break on the boulevard, they'll be able to see that in here also?
That's correct. We have in our system, we've got 8 water pump stations, we've got 15 water tanks, and then we have like 20 monitoring points throughout the city. A monitoring point is just a small computer that's out there measuring pressure. And if we'd get a pressure drop anywhere in the city, usually these monitoring points will pick it up, and they will alert us to either a main break or there's a major flushing going on, or maybe it's even combined with your fire department. Right. But we'll get alarms somewhere along the line, either from a pump station, a water tank, or one of our monitoring points. So we have our city pretty well covered with knowing what pressures are and what flows are and what's really going on at all times.
That's great. Well, with the Lake Gaston pipeline seems to be moving on in the right direction, and is this system going to be upgraded to accommodate that when that comes online?
We don't know how this will be actually tied into the Lake Gaston project. It's going to be somehow so we can monitor what is coming into the city, although it's in the future yet. You know, Lake Gaston has got started, but we don't know where it's going to end up at. Hopefully we're going to get it. The city needs the water. Right.
Well, that's definitely the truth. We definitely need our water, and this is an outstanding center you have here. How long has it been online in operation?
It's been, I guess, 5-7 years.
Richard, how would you go about tracing the history of a low-pressure water line or something like that? Could you trace it in here, find out if you got a leak or the history of it? Or?
Absolutely. If, for example, we had a working fire and you had low pressure in that area, and we wanted to go back and see why we had low pressure or what the pressures actually were, we can come back in here, bring up the history, and then we're able to run a plot and from our computers here, which gets printed out and show you the suction and discharge. We can go back 24 hours, 48 hours, and run a plot for 48 hours if we care to. And that's being done. We can have this young lady right over here run that plot for us if you like.
Okay, let's take a look at it, see how it works.
This is one of the capabilities that we do have. What we've done here, we have brought up the Kempsville pump station. And what you're looking at is just the tank level, the pumps, and what we had mentioned about was running a plot on pressures. And Susan, if you'll go ahead and bring up the plot for some historical data, we'll look at that. Now that we have this information, this is our historical data on some of the pressure. That's suction and discharge coming from Kempsville for a certain period of time. And now we can put that over to our plotter, and we can print this out on a hard copy. And Susan, if you'll go ahead and do that.
Richard, one other thing I'd like to ask you about is, would it be possible for the people viewing the tape, could they schedule an appointment to come down and take a tour of your facility down here on Lansdowne Road? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. We'd be more than happy to take them, give them a tour of what's actually going on here. We've been sharing this experience with all the water pump stations and tanks, and we'd be happy to include this. Now that we've got the whole new system, it's really worthwhile seeing.
That's great. We appreciate your time. And remember, if you want to see any of the pump stations in your area, if you want to come down and see the control center on Lansdowne Road, you can call Bob Anderson at Training Center, or you can call Richard Carnes down at Public Utilities, and they'll schedule a time when you can get your engine company through. And this has been great information. Appreciate you taking your time with us, Richard.
It's my pleasure, and I thank you for your interest.
No problem. And remember out there, you know, we depend on Richard and his staff down here to get us the water when we need it. It's a kind of who's your buddy type of guy down here. Remember, we got to stay on the good side of him and his staff down here. So if you ever wondered, I'm Battalion Chief R.B. Alley.
We thank you for watching the Virginia Beach Fire Department Frontline. From Sea Shift to the Zoo, we'll see you next month.
Till next month, stay safe out there.